Hello there, my name is Sydney and welcome to what is technically part 1 of Homebrewed Art. This is a series of art tutorials that focus less on definition and more on understanding, so that regardless of how you want to draw, you'll always have a strong foundation. This series is focused mainly on character-based art to help self-taught artists, like myself, improve their skills when it comes to drawing OCs or pretty much anything else that you want to draw. I also highly recommend, after watching this tutorial, to head on over and watch our other, part 0, technically, tutorial called How to Draw the Advanced Stick Figure. It demonstrates how to quickly draw a posed figure using very simple lines. It's actually a great starting point to drawing full body characters and things like that. It's technically not a Homebrewed Art video, but I went back and I renamed it and I think it's good. I look a little different in the video, but I hope that doesn't bother you too much. Today, we'll be honing in on head construction. I've made a tutorial previously on drawing the head, but that was kind of old, and I want to do this one so that my next tutorial, which will be on drawing hair, has a stronger, more recent page to stand on. But without further yapping, let's show you how to draw a head. Here we are with my art program. I'm using Medibang Paint Pro, which is a free application on PC and also on mobile, I'm pretty sure. You can actually view a tutorial here on my channel where I talk about all the different assets of it, and I even give you some pen tools to use so that you can draw along with me. I'll be using my pencil tool that should be available in the video, so feel free to hop on over there and take a look after this video or even right now. Either way, this tutorial will still be here when you come back. So let's get started drawing a head. How do we do that? Simple. Step 1, we're gonna draw a circle. Oops! I drew an oval! Oh no! Don't worry, everything's fine. Because here's the thing, I've recently learned that it's actually kind of hard for people to draw a circle. It's kind of wild, I know. I've been doing this for years, so I don't realize what's actually kind of difficult for people. But lately, I've been getting more acclimated to understanding where people are coming from, especially when they're starting with art. So I'm going to take the time to teach you right now how to draw a pretty decent circle. So the way that I like to do it is you're never going to perfectly nail a circle unless you're crazy talented. But a way that you can actually circumvent that is by drawing very lightly in a circular pattern until you get what amounts to a reasonable circle. I know I'm kind of nailing these, so these aren't really, doing me great service right now. But if I, do an oval like this and I just keep drawing over it, eventually, I'll get a kind of circular shape. This is very helpful, especially for younger artists that aren't very used to doing this. Draw very lightly. That is my biggest piece of advice for you, is to draw as lightly as you can when it comes to drawing like this. And throughout this tutorial, I recommend drawing with a very light hand because we're going to be doing a lot of basing and we're going to be doing a lot of erasing as we go. I know that a lot of the time you'll draw with a very heavy line when in reality, erasing that ends up leaving an imprint on the paper. Or in this case, where we're digital, we kind of don't have that problem, but it is a good habit to fall into, is to draw lightly when you're sketching, because it's a sketch. It's meant to be kind of, faded, a little light. It's your base. It's your foundation. So we're going to hop back a little bit. I'm actually going to keep this first circle that we did. This is a fantastic circle. I think I did a good job with it. I'm just going to scale it up for our sake so we can see it a little bit better. So here's our circle. And what we've just done with this circle is create our cranium, the base of our head, regardless of what extra bits we want to do, or how much hair we want to give them, or how big or small their nose is, or how, meaty their jaw is. It doesn't matter. This is our structural foundation, and it will probably always be this is shape. Now, of course, a circle is not the only way that you can start by drawing a head. Sometimes you can even start by drawing a head with a square, or even a triangle. Those shapes are totally fine, but for this example, we're going to be starting with the circle. And a lot of what we're going to be doing to the circle applies to the square and triangle as well. So we're going to take my circle, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half twice. Down the middle, and a cross. We've created a crosshair. Good job. It doesn't matter how accurate it is or straight it is. Well, it kind of does, but it should be as straight as possible both ways. From here, we're going to drop to about the bottom of the circle a little line. It's going to kind of taper in a little bit. Or it can go straight down, but tapering in a little bit gives it a little more foreshortening. It actually makes things a little more comfortable. Then, around about from here to there, you're going to drop about this length. So from the center of the circle to the bottom of the circle, you're going to drop down again, another little line, and then you're going to connect these little edges that have started at the bottom of the circle down there. And if you followed along and you created this shape, good job. You've drawn a face. Just that it's literally just that simple. So very quickly, we're going to put that aside and we're going to go over that all over again, just so we're all on the same page very quickly. You're going to start with a circle. If you can't get it straight the first time, go over it a few times. Doesn't matter how messy, go over lightly. Draw as lightly as possible. Cut the circle in half, just like that. Go from the side of your circle down a little bit, tapering it in just slightly. And then you're going to drop down from the center to the bottom, that length down here. And then you're going to taper in that jaw. And then you can kind of neaten it up as you need. And congrats. Again, we've just drawn a second face. If you followed along with that, you're doing great. So from here, what we're going to do next is we're going to start adding some details. And we can use the exact same system that we just used to actually figure out where most of our facial features are going to go. Starting with the thing that we just marked, the bottom of the circle is actually the start of the nose, is the bottom of the nose. The bottom of your nose will usually start at the bottom of the circle. Then it'll go right up to the top of the center of the circle. Boom. This cross line that we've done here is also known as the brow line or eye line, depending on where you're coming from. Some people call it the eye line, some call it the brow line. Some people actually put the line down a little bit more because that will actually be where your eyes are. Because your eyes kind of show up about halfway from your nose here to about here. And then this becomes your eye line. So your eyes would pop in here. You could just draw some circles here. Technically, you should be able to fit a third eye in the center. And that's how your eyes should be spaced. But depending on how you're drawing and what you're drawing, that might change a little bit. If you followed along so far, we'll draw in our eyes again. You're probably ending up with a pretty convincing looking face right now. All that's left that you really need to do is your mouth and your ears. Our mouth is very simple. We go about halfway down this jawline here and just draw a line. There's your mouth. And then your ears are about from the top of your eye to the bottom of your jaw. And congrats, you've drawn a face. If you want to get extra with it, about 1/3 of the way down here, a little less. You're gonna draw two little lines and a little flat square. Technically, this is a square or diamond, whichever one you want to call it. Bada bing, bada bay. You drew a face. You drew a face. You can add some pupils if you want. And then you can add some eyebrows. Now, of course, when you dive into this and you get started making characters, otherwise, your character designs are going to be wild and they're going to be different. They're not all going to be average Joe Schmo guy. You can do different shapes for your eyes. You can do different shapes for your noses. You can even do different shapes for your heads. It doesn't really matter, but all of it comes back down to this core feature. There are plenty of examples of cartoons and otherwise that use this core foundation, like structural foundation, for their faces, because this is how a human face is formed in general. Even me, little cat down here in the corner, right? You can see it. You can see it with my face. If you in your mind's eye deconstruct my face, you can see this. It's that simple. Now, you didn't click on this video just to learn how to draw average Joe Schmo staring at you straight on. So, we're going to apply this logic. I'm going to kind of cut this off over here. We're going to apply this logic to a side view now. And I know a lot of self-taught artists and younger artists actually really struggle with the side view, because what ends up happening is, I used to do it too, so don't worry. I know where you guys are coming from, but the jaw somehow gets elongated. It's like the face becomes like this. I don't know why or where it happens, but I see it happen all the time. And again, I'm guilty of this too. But drawing from the side profile is literally the same as what we've done already right here. So if we start with our circle, let's kind of base out our form as best as we can. Once again, draw as lightly as possible. With our circle, what we're going to do is we're actually going to draw a line straight down coming from this side of the face. We're going to kind of taper it in a little bit, and that's totally fine. This is an additional line because if you remember from over here, we actually cut the face directly in half. But now that half of the face is facing this way. It can actually be mirrored as well, so don't think that this is a one-stop shop. You can flip it at both sides. But for the sake of this example, we're going to be drawing it this way. So once you've done this, same as before. You're just going to cut it down the middle, cut it down the middle. Everything that we just did is already measured out based off of this circle. We already know everything where it's going to go. Center of this circle to the bottom of the circle, straight down. To give us our jaw definition. Over here is going to be the top of the nose. Over here is going to be the bottom of the nose. We already know that. But it's structuring the rest of the jaw that's a little more difficult because it kind of depends on where the jaw is located. So what we're going to do is I'm going to draw straight down, and this is going to be the side of the jaw. This is the step of the jaw. You remember from here, top of this, bottom of this is where your ear forms. And your ear is kind of at the back of your head a little bit, so it is going to sit over here a bit. Then we're going to drop the jaw down a little bit, just a little bit. We're going to bring it down about there. Kind of let it kind of slink up into the face of it. Then we're going to pull forward where the nose is. There. And then we're going to tuck this line from the bottom of the nose back a little bit. And then just kind of meeting that up a little bit. Some of this gets a little lost in translation. Then, because of foreshortening, we're actually going to draw our circle for our eye squashed. Because this is an opening for the eye, so it's going to end up like that. Then once again, draw your mouth, which happens about halfway down the jaw. Then, at the back of your neck, you can add a little bit more detail. You can keep it up there. It doesn't really matter. I like adding a little bit more meat back here, just like a little extra V. From the bottom of the jaw, kind of go in and then down and then back. Like that. All of us humanoids, rather, have a little bit of a lurch in our neck. Our neck kind of leans forward. It's part of our natural posture because the rest of our chest kind of sticks out from here. There we go. Now we're going to do a 3/4 turn. Arguably the most interesting of all of the facial directions. Everybody does it. I do it. I'm in it right now. I'm in a 3/4 turn right now. And I'm going to show you how to do it. And it's the same principle that we just did with both of these. So we're going to come over here. We're going to draw our circle. I did it the same way as before. And instead of drawing straight down the middle or straight to the side, we're going to go off by 1/3. So we're going to have our 2/3 over here, and our 1/3 over here. Doesn't really matter where you put it, as long as it's somewhere around this kind of space. Either here or over here. You just want more material on this side than you do on this side. That's really the only rule of thumb for drawing 3/4. Then, same thing as before. Gonna find the bottom of our circle and mark that on our line that goes down. We're gonna cross it down the center, just like that. Then, we're gonna do the same thing that we did over here, where we kind of taper this down a little bit to the bottom of the nose. No different than kind of what we did here. Then we're going to drop it down that same distance from here to there. And then we're just going to connect where our jaw is going to go. And naturally, hopefully, it's going to form a different angle for both of the jaw lines. Even though these jaw lines line up kind of the same, if we connect them via here, just like that, this one needs to travel a different distance than this one does. Triangles and shit, you know how it be. So because of that, you're already in a natural 3/4 turn. Then comes right down to everything else that we've already done. Over here is our ear, adjust as needed. The size of it, because it is in technically foreshortening. Also, I'm not very good at drawing human ears anymore because I've been drawing elf ears forever. So that's kind of my bad. Same thing though. Center of the circle, drop that down. That's where our nose is. Half of our nose down the center is where our eyes are. Now, a trick about eyes very quickly is that this eye will probably be as normal as possible, while this eye is actually going to be shrunk in a little bit. This one's going to be a little more foreshortened. This one is going to be a smaller size than this one. And on top of that, if you want your character to be looking straight ahead, what you're going to want to do is actually tuck in this eye a little closer to where to their nose. And then this eye over here. Depending on eye size, it's going to change where you place it, but this creates a back foreshortening. It's kind of a weird thing when you see it in practice, or when you're thinking about it, because this does look a little natural, especially if I color it in. This is going to look way more natural, but some people would prefer to draw like this and try to put them in roughly the same space. That creates a different look than here. It's a very small difference, but it is very helpful. So now that we've done that, same thing as before, we'll add our mouth down halfway through our jaw. Again, you can adjust the jaw up and down as needed for wherever you want to put it. And then we're going to go from the base of our jaw for our neck, and then roughly around our, a little after our chin. Bada bing, bada boom, bada a. You draw another 3/4 turn face. All of this one weird guy. Now, if you'll give me a moment, I'm actually going to show you two of my characters. My character, Elise Conine, and my other character, Parzival Wolfram, male and female, just to show you the differences in how I approach each face. I'll be doing a front turn and a 3/4 turn for both, and I'll do them very quickly just so that you can kind of get an idea for what I'm talking about when I draw them. So I'm going to do that right now, so I'm going to speed up the video a little bit. So I hope by watching me draw these two characters, with Elise on the left and Parzival on the right, you kind of got an idea for how this method can be approached to give you different looking characters, and how little tiny adjustments here and there to where things land and how things are made can kind of change the entire dimension of a face. With Elise's more squishy, rounded cheekbone, and Parzival's more structured, square-like jaw, and his giant eyebrows too. These two characters use the same basis for everything, but look wildly different because of their, how I did everything else around them. You can apply this to your own characters, and if you're struggling with drawing a head, I highly recommend using what I've already given you and adjusting proportions where you need them to be. Learning and understanding these measurements is exceptionally easy, extremely easy, because all you need is a circle, and that's kind of it. It references itself, and it's just that simple. And you can play with this to as much as you want, because again, what I've done here is pretty quickly sketch out all of my characters. I'll even do it in real time with you really quickly. Draw with me right now, straight up. Draw with me right now. Go and do a circle. Cut that circle down to half, even just like a little bit off. Right here's our nose. We know that. Here's our jaw. We're gonna bring that in a little bit. Bring that there. Bring that there. Little triangle nose. Under here, we're gonna add like a little oval eye. Little oval eye. Mouth, ear. You can even throw in an ear on the other side. Eye. Neck placement. Little triangle. You saw how fast I did that. You can draw and create and map these out as much as you want and practice these like crazy. There is nothing stopping you from doing that. And the more that you play with these proportions and the more that you figure out the way that they work and the more that you push them to your own ends, the more it's going to work for you. This is also why I highly recommend that you go watch the part 0 of this series, which is the advanced stick figure tutorial, because it actually goes over how to draw the entire body quickly, just as quickly as we just did this head. The entire body. Because the body references itself. And again, you can push those proportions wherever you want. And that is the entire goal of this tutorial series, is to help you understand proportionality of the body so that you can quickly create ideas and poses and what you want to see as soon as possible, the way you want to make it. I know personally, when I was growing up, there were so many art tutorials available, but all of them had them drawing the way that other people drew. I didn't want that. I wanted to learn the specific way I wanted to draw. But sometimes things ebbed in the wrong way or lurched in the wrong way, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. So, again, my entire goal with this series is to help you learn how to learn. And I hope by seeing this, you're able to apply it to whatever else you want to do. However else you want to do it. You don't even need to add a jaw sometimes. If you want to just draw a straight up circle head, you can totally do that. That's perfectly fine. But now you know when you cut this in half, if you draw a tinier circle inside, here's your nose, here's your mouth, here's your eye, and here's your other eye. All because this circle then creates this little point here. And it's adjustable. You can do whatever you want with this. It doesn't have to be a circle. It can be a square. It can be a triangle. It can be whatever you want it to be. Because that is what's great about art. And that's why we're homebrewing it. Is because we can do whatever the hell we want and rules can't tell us otherwise. And I think it's time for some closing words. If you'll give me 2 minutes of your time, please, I beg. If you like this tutorial, please consider subscribing because I will be making more and we make content pretty much daily. Because I'm actually a live streamer here on YouTube. I play video games and I work on animated projects as well. I do a lot of drawing, and feel free at any time to hop into our stream and ask me how to draw something, so long as I'm drawing. If I'm playing a game, I kind of can't put the brakes on to explain something to you, but if I'm already drawing or animating, feel free. I can spend 5, maybe 10 minutes going over a quick example of how to do something, and I'll be, as cool with it as possible. But if you would like a more personalized critique, you can totally do that as well by going over to our Patreon and subscribing to our $3 artist tier. If you do that, you're able to join our Discord, which you can actually just do for free, but you'll gain access to the critique channel as well, which will allow you to upload your art so long as you follow our criteria. And I'll take a look at it live on stream on, usually Wednesday nights, where it's not the goal to tear you down or tell you you're bad or stupid. It's to go over what you did right, what you did wrong, and how you can work on it to get better. Because I want you to get better. I don't want you to hate art. I want you to like art. And I'm here to help you push yourself a little bit more. It's my whole goal. So hopefully, if you found this tutorial helpful, you'll stick around. Maybe even stop by stream sometime. I'm actually going to be playing Expedition 33 this Friday as of this video. And we're also in the middle of our summer event. We'll be going from now until the end of August, so I'll have a new summer overlay, and I won't be in this dingy Asmongold background. I'm actually at a nice little beach, hanging out, drinking a nice little martini. It's kind of nice. But I hope you have a good rest of your night. I appreciate you watching this, and I hope I helped. And if you need any extra help, Patreon's there, and the stream is there as well, so long as I'm animating, which I animate primarily on Mondays and Tuesdays. My schedule is actually available on the posts of this channel and also over on my Blue Sky. So check that out if you're interested. And considering joining our Discord completely for free as well. It is kind of restricted in what you're able to do, but give it a look-see. See if you like it. If you don't, it's whatever. But yeah. Again, have a good night. Thank you for watching.